and I see three people flailing, punching at each other at the doorway of this courtroom and breaking some of the chairs outside, but it was a free-for-all fist fight going on.
The court day had barely wrapped up when chaos erupted. Three people brawling right outside the courtroom doors. Chairs breaking, fists flying. A complete free-for-all in a place meant for justice. Imagine that justice inside, but a street. Fight outside. Would you expect this kind of scene at a murder trial?
All three. I recognize all three. The court received a verdict from the jury in the case of Stephen and jail in a murder case, and the jury found the defendant guilty of the offense of murder as alleged in the indictment. So the court accepted the verdict and then broke for the lunch hour. And as participants and the jury and spectators were leaving the courtroom, this court saw some activity at the doorway, and I could see one or two bodies, and it was obvious that physical confrontation was going on at the doorway, inside the doorway.
The judge quickly recognized all three involved. Moments earlier, the jury had delivered a guilty verdict for murder. The court had recessed for lunch, and then bam, the fight broke out. This wasn't just a scuffle. It was public, it was loud, and it happened as court was still technically in session. What do you think triggered it?
The doorway, and at the doorway of this courtroom, as the court was still in session on this matter. I've reviewed a video, because we got videos everywhere, and I see three people flailing, punching at each other at the doorway of this courtroom and breaking some of the chairs outside, but it was a free-for-all fist fight going on. Y'all three, I recognize all three of you. This is a court of justice, a courthouse of justice, of honor. This is the last thing that should ever happen in this building, because we're trying to resolve problems in a humane and dignified and educated and advanced method. We're not cavemen, although you three acted like it, like we were back in the caves again, without any.
The judge's voice sharpens. This is a court of justice, not a cave where problems are solved with fists. We're not cavemen, he says, shaming the fighters for dragging the dignity of the court into chaos. The message: civilize people, solve disputes through law, not brute force. Do you agree with the judge's analogy here?
Without any rules, without any sense of respect for each other, the proceedings move forward in due process. The jury had their job, the attorneys had their job, and then we went through the penal code, the code of criminal procedure, and the rules of evidence to get to a disposition in this case, like we do in every case, using the rule of law, not fist fighting in front of the public. Can you imagine if this is what we did normally? We don't really need a building. We just meet and punch it out. We're not cavemen. We're supposed to be advanced thinkers. But not everybody thinks advanced thought. That's foolish. That was foolish. And I see assaults. Now, I understand that no one wants to press charges against anybody. But let me tell you this, I'm pressing the charges. You do it at the door of my courtroom while in session, you're going to get held in contempt of court. All three of you.
Then comes the hammer. The judge announces he's pressing charges himself. No one else wanted to file, but he makes it clear: fight at the door of his courtroom, and you're going to jail. All three are charged with contempt, facing up to 6 months behind bars. fair punishment, or too harsh.
All three of you are charged with contempt of court. Carries with it up to 60 days in jail, 180 days in jail, 6 months. 6 months. And don't think I won't set an example, because this isn't going to be the kind of activity that decent, law-abiding, advanced human thought in America is supposed to be about. And it'll be made an example out of. And we got the video, and it didn't happen exactly in my presence. So it's going to be what's called constructive contempt. It still happened over this court's authority and power at the door of its courtroom while in session, which means I can't hold a hearing right now. But what I'm going to do is you're all arrested. You're going to go to jail, and we'll bring you back, and we'll have hearings on each of these cases, and I'll get to make the determination up to 6 months in the county jail. And don't you think I won't make an example, because this isn't the kind of behavior which you can do and then walk away from it as though nothing happened. We're supposed to.
He recalls one of the most infamous cases he ever prosecuted, the James Byrd murder, trial emphasizing that, even in the most emotionally charged cases, justice was served through law, not violence. It's a reminder, but it's the bedrock of the system. Does this make his stance stronger in your eyes?
We're supposed to set examples of behavior for all of us. And some of these cases have terrible situations. I presided over the James Byrd murder cases. I was one of the prosecutors. You don't think that was hostile? Because there were a lot of folks who felt like justice needed to be served in different ways. But we did the rule of law. The rule of law worked. Those people were prosecuted and then executed for what they did. You don't think that the experience and the sacrifices that we put in to see humanitarian ways of doing justice and the rule of law and due process works? Or is there another way? No, it worked so that the people knew that this Constitution, the flag, and the rules in the Constitution are something to be honored. That we handle our problems in a disciplined, mature, advanced method so that we are the example for the rest of the world. But that's not the way that worked out there in that doorway. All y'all did was that acted like the kids do at school grounds before we learned and get educated, duking it out there in front of everybody. People are here to resolve their problems in an honorable, disciplined way under the rule of law. What kind of example is that set that y'all can duke it out and just flail at each other? But you got my attention, and you're gonna have hearings, each of you, and I'll get to make the decision because you don't have a jury trial.
The judge compares the fight to schoolyard brawls, mature, disruptive, and totally out of place in a courthouse. He warns that these hearings will be personal, no jury, just him deciding the sentence. Can you imagine standing in front of a furious judge who has already seen you fight in his hallway?
Jury trial that's in front of me. And you can be ultimately sentenced in jail up to 6 months. Does everybody understand that? All of you? Okay, I need everybody's names. Yours first, sir.
Charles Nicholas Jr.
All right, spell your first name. Is it Charles?
Yes, sir.
Your middle name, sir?
David. David.
And surname, last name?
Nicholas. Nicholas.
And you, sir?
Charles Nicholas Sr.
And you, sir? Your name?
Last name Angel. First name STERON.
How do you pronounce that? How do you pronounce it? Steron? Steron?
That'll do.
Okay, what we call this is what's called constructive contempt. That means it didn't completely happen in the court's view, but it happened where it disrupted the court's lawful duties in our hearings because it all occurred at this doorway. Turn your phone off, please. Thank you. It's called constructive or indirect contempt. And again, this is what's called criminal contempt rather than civil contempt, because you can be placed up to 6 months in the county jail. So all of you will be arrested. Each of you are going to be, there's a bond that I'm ordering of $1,000 in each case. For each case, I'm going to set this for a hearing in...
Names are taken, bonds are set $1,000 each, and court-appointed attorneys are discussed. The formal process kicks in, showing that even when emotions are high, the law still follows its procedures. This shift from chaos to structured process is striking. Do you think the fighters realized how serious this had just become?
4 to 6 weeks. And if you're unable to hire an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you. Are all of you going to be able to hire attorneys, or are you going to need appointed attorneys? Sir, you're going to hire somebody, and you, sir, Ms. Point, you want somebody to point? We're going to get you to fill something out. I need him to do an indigent form. If you're indigent or unable to hire somebody, one will be appointed immediately to help you, okay?
Y'all hold on, we're gonna take him into custody properly before he fills that out. We'll take those cuffs off.
That would be done later. Okay, I think that's, you've been given notice of what you're charged with. And again, criminal contempt is punishable because it concerns an act which affronts the dignity and authority of the court. And the primary purpose of criminal contempt proceeding is to vindicate the public authority. And committing assaults in the doorway of a courtroom, where in this courthouse, where justice is the determining goal in all of our proceedings in a dignified and not...
The judge explains constructive contempt when misconduct disrupts court business, even if it happens outside the judge's direct view. The goal here isn't just punishment tits to protect the dignity and authority of the court. Without that, the whole system risks collapse. How important do you think respect for the court really is?
Non-hostile way of advanced human actions and thought. That's the way we're supposed to conduct ourselves. And every case has emotional issues. We never have problems like we had just a moment ago. And that cannot be tolerated, and it will not be. It will have its punishment attached to the actions. Does everybody understand? All right, that is all. We're in recess on this. Then you're all taken into custody, and $1,000 bond.
Can I get started? No, we'll take care of that. We're gonna have a story on it.
His closing is blunt. Emotional cases happen all the time, but what happened today will not be tolerated. The fight will carry consequences. Everyone is taken into custody. The courtroom falls quiet, but the tension lingers in the air. Would this scene make you think twice before losing your temper in court?